Hi everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to one of my 2021 preparation videos. There'll be a couple of these going out. There'll be this one, there'll be one with my reading goals, there will be one about like authors I want to read next year, upcoming release, so you know, all that content I'm going to be putting out through the month of December. And then at the end of December we'll have a lot of my favorites videos and least favorites and stuff like that. But for this one, I want to explain something new that I'm going to be doing. It's something that I've talked about recently a lot, and I just finally kind of got it all planned out enough to like articulate it. Also, this is a video that I made a couple years ago, the first time when I like explained my rating system. And I think a lot of people know that I rate heavily on enjoyment. I'm just one who chooses that, would I recommend this because I had a great time? If the answer is yes, I would recommend the book. That is how I go about my decisions of recommending books, is like, did I have a great time? Canceling out, like, I don't really believe in, like, if a book is problematic, I believe in leaving that up to the person who's reading it. So I would give trigger warnings for something, but otherwise, I don't let problematic items or things like that get in my way of what I rate a book. Those are just the decisions that I've made in how I read. So I want to go through what my ratings are for each star and then talk a little bit about the 6th star, which is something that I'll be implementing this year. This is something that I have seen a few booktubers use, most specifically Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany. I remember when she did this like 2 years ago, maybe she implemented it. I can't remember, but I know I was an itty bitty tiny channel and she read so many books in a year that she was like, I need a way to differentiate my favorite books, because I give a lot of books 5 stars. In the year of 2020, I gave 215 5 stars. All those books weren't equal to me. Like, I was able to go through and pick out about 16 books that were my favorites, but I want something in place that helps me decide that going forward, so that at the end of the year I don't have to scramble and look back and see which ones are a new favorite of mine. Because a lot of it is based on feeling, and so I wanted a way to kind of break down my feelings, but also still leave room that I can just be like, yeah, that book's a 5 star. It just is. Whereas there's one where like, I'm going to be recommending this book till the cows come home because it's a 6 star book. And I want to have like a concrete-ish way to decide that. So let's go ahead and go through. We'll start with the lame 1 star and like work our way up, and I'll talk more in depth about what my plan is for a 6 star. This is, I'm sure, will evolve and change as I actually start to find some of them, because right now this is all speculation, because I've never like read a book yet and been like, it's a 6 star, because my head is always based on like 1 through 5. So a 1 star rating. A 1 star rating for me is, I finished it, so it's not a DNF, but I found nothing to recommend it. I hated it. Maybe I read it to finish it, because in general, I don't have 1 star books. The year of 2020, I had 0 1 star books. I either had DNFs or I had 2 stars. So I'm going to try to do that this year, of like a 1 star is a DNF for me. But then again, that's hard to say, because sometimes I DNF books for reasons that have nothing to do with enjoyment level. So that's why I still like to have a DNF as an option and not ding the book by rating it a 1 star. So 1 star is only relegated to books that I absolutely hated them, but I finished them completely. Then I will rate them as a 1 star. 2 stars. It is frustrating and but it still may have some things that I liked, but it just wasn't enough to please me. So maybe this book is a trope that I really like, but it's done really badly. Maybe this, you know, I didn't all out hate it, but the characters were just so frustrating to me that I lost a lot of enjoyment. Maybe this has a twist at the end that makes me angry. Maybe it's a book that said it was a romance, but then lied to me. It's a book that says it's a romance, but ends up being women's fiction or chick lit, and I just don't like it. Generally, a 2 star for me is like around a 2.5 star, because I finished it and like there are things about it that work but don't. But I still will give half stars for my personal rating, but this is more for like how I will rate it on Goodreads, because Goodreads doesn't let you do half stars. Again, I generally don't have a lot of 2 stars. Usually a book is a 2.5 star, so then I round it up to a 3 star so that I'm not giving it a 2 star, but I'm going to try to be more tough about that and like give 2 stars if it feels like it to me. Then we get to a 3 star, which means I enjoyed myself when reading, but something still bugged me or it was forgettable. So that would be the case of like My Fake Rake, which I just rated in a recent vlog or in a recent video, where I saw a lot of pleasant things about it. It didn't turn me off completely, but I probably won't recommend it to someone. I'm forgetting the plot right away when it's over, or it just had potential and then like soured me the more that I read it. Would be kind of a 3 star. So it's still like good-ish. So for me, where it's a 3.5 star is when I like definitely enjoyed it, but it's still forgettable. So like that's the difference for me between like a 3 star and then a 3.5 star. Like a 3.5 star, I might still recommend to specific people that I think the book would work for them. Whereas once we move up into these top 3 stars, they're books that like I'm going to talk about them more. Because then we get to a 4 star and it says this. This was enjoyable. I would recommend it. The story worked for me, but maybe could have wowed me more. So this is where we're really strongly getting into how I feel about things. Because that's really the line between a 4 and a 5 star to me, is the wow factor, which is completely individual depending on my mood, the time that I read this book, you know, if I was able to complete it in one sitting, you know, could I put the book down? Like that to me is the difference between a 4 and a 5, is like, was I able to set it down even for a little bit? You know, was I like ignoring other things I needed to get done to read it or not? Like that's the difference for me. But a 4 star is like, this is a genuinely good book. It was great. I had a good time. I'm going to recommend it in videos, but it wasn't, I'm obsessed with these people. Then we get to a 5 star. So a 5 star for me is obviously, I loved it. I found nothing bad that stood out. I gushed about it in a review or a vlog or something. And I want my friends to read it. So that's a 5 star for me, is anything that was wrong with it is overshadowed by the joy that I got out of it. I really liked both of the protagonists. I understood what the author was trying to do with it. There was nothing that I felt that the author left on the table. Like it worked for me. So that's a 5 star. So you can see how that can happen a lot. It's why I have a lot of 5 stars, because it's all just based on gut feeling. When I finish the book, I'm like, that was good. I liked it. I'm a pretty easy 5 star to please. I think that books deserve 5 stars if they were 5 stars. Because I'm not a critical reviewer, I'm an enjoyment reviewer, and I recommend books based on enjoyment. So if you give me those things, we're in it to win it. We're good. So then the 6th star. So what this will mean is the book will get 5 stars on, it will get 5 stars on Goodreads. It will get put in a shelf that is 6 stars, which is my favorites of 2021. And it will mean this. It will do everything that a 5 star does, but it is held above the others and is a favorite read of the year. It also gets 10 out of 10 in at least one of the following categories. So these categories, again, they're arbitrary. I'll share them with you. But it is how I determined which books that I loved the most this year. It's how I am rating my favorites. That's why I'm rereading them in December, is I'm holding them against this. So I have these 5 categories: the hero and heroine, or both of the leads if it's a FF or MM, but hero, heroine, plot, the resolution of the plot, and the sex of the book. So those are the 5 categories that I will then score it on if it makes it into a 6 star. So if the book makes it into the 6 star for me, then I kick over into this rating system, which helps me rank them at the end of the year. So how I felt about the 2 leads, what the plot of the book was. Like, if the plot of the book is the sex, that's still the plot of the book. This is where like banging into the plot can be a thing. But if it's a fantasy, did I understand what was going on? You know, why was I so into it? What was happening? And then the resolution of said plot. If this is a one and done book, did the critical point when it flipped over, like, did it make sense? Did the aha moment work? Or was this a miscommunication trope that even though I thought the hero was sexy and the sex was good, like, it didn't do great? Like, it could still be a 6-star and not get a 10 out of 10 in these. So, right? So that's my point, is like, it gets a 6-star based on gut feeling, and then I use these 5 categories to help. So then the last one being sex, like, how much of it, how good was it? Was it inventive? Like, based on that. So basically, it just feels right to me. It evokes emotion. It was very sexy. It left me stunned when it was over. It almost makes me have a book hangover. I need immediately to get on social media and make everybody read this book. So that's where I'm coming from a 6th star. So I'm hoping that by taking on this new like ranking system, kind of updating how I look at things, that it will leave me a less confused about what to rate, because that is something that happens as you get like the fear of rating a book. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know what to rate this one, or I know people are looking at what my ratings mean, and so I want to be able to like point to this video and be like, hey, these are what the stars mean to me. You know, if a star's a 3.5, it does not mean it's bad. In fact, I might recommend it still, but it just wasn't it for me. And just to make it clear that it is based on enjoyment, like a book that someone else hates might be perfect for me because the hero is everything I want and the sex is really good. And then I'll also know like why I rated it that way, because in my end of the year spreadsheet, or my year-long spreadsheet, I have added in these things so that I can put them in as I'm doing it. So I'm pretty excited about it. But anyway, I want to leave this video really quick, as I said, so that it's one I can reference people back to. But I hope that helps give you clarity when you will hear me talk about in my weekly wrap-ups for 2021, when I rate a book this way, this is why it's happening now. And so I hope that that is helpful to you. So thank you so much for watching this. I put up multiple videos a week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit like to this video, and I'll see you in the next one.